because you'll see some small plays that other people wouldn't have seen because they had a strong, obvious play that they could have made earlier.
Sure. I feel like Trump's really grown as a player, and hopefully he's able to kind of pull it out and continue to show it. But at the same time, I'm always happy to see RDU showing off that hard work and dedication continues to lead to results. The kid's 17 years old. He can't even party with us. He can't even legally sign for himself. He needs his parents' permission to still go on some of these tournaments and trips, which might sound like I'm insulting him, but absolutely praising him on the contrary, because I feel like despite his youthfulness and his inexperience, he's been able to kind of establish himself as one of the best players in the world over and over again. And once again, getting one step closer to perhaps getting top 3 with another very, very reputable finish.
RDU continues to draw very well with handlock, by the way.
Oh yeah, always Twilight Drake and Mountain Giant at the beginning.
Very strong options. Trump could put something together here, though. This is going to be a really important thought steal in a couple turns.
Yeah, thought steal sometimes can completely turn this matchup upside down. Whether you have you take their Iron Beak Owl against their Twilight Drakes, or even better yet, you get something like Mountain Giant Twilight Drake for yourself.
Do we know if he's running 1 or 2 Iron Beak Owls yet? Have we seen?
I've seen a couple of handlocks already from the German players, right? Vossema and Toida also runs handlocks, so I think it's been kind of blurred as to how many Iron Beaks he runs. But it is one of those cards that's a little bit more flexible. Second Mountain Giant.
Wow. So we can no longer
That's going to be tricky.
that.
Yeah. Maybe a net way to answer it with Siphon Soul.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he wants to thought steal like Siphon Soul. And we haven't seen Big Game Hunter, so he's probably not running that either.
Yikes. Swing and a miss.
Indeed.
Not to mention, he's also within Mortal Coil range off the coin. Or actually, sorry, I thought he had 4 mana. No, he has 3 mana. So he's going to go for Hellfire first, and Zombie Chow works in the opposite direction of what Trump wants to. Zombie Chow can serve as like a Mind Blast of sorts, but not in this scenario. Alright, well, given the choice here, do you like Twilight Drake because of what it does to Priest, or do you like... Oh, never mind. I thought he had a ability to play Mountain Giant as well.
Yeah, I was just about to mention. Yeah, he used the coin, so he's not able to actually play Mountain Giant this turn. He's going to have to wait. But waiting's not a bad thing. A 4/8 is threatening enough, I think.
Sure.
Sludge Belcher again, though, doing a really good job. I imagine this... There's a pretty good chance I think the Sludge Belcher gets silenced, though.
Or do you miss the chance of dropping out another big creature? Are you afraid of that injured Blade Master getting healed? Is that a big concern of yours?
I guess not.
Alright. Well, he can still put out 4 attack creatures. He can silence his own Ancient Watcher. Or he can just kind of use it flexibly based off what Death Rattles Trumps puts out. Now, an interesting turn for Trump because, he has a lot of these creatures he can continue to kind of put pressure back or try to match it toe-to-toe. And there is a very noticeable time where you want to try to use Sylvanas to grab. It's like another piece of removal in a way against Giants.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider here, too. Using Earthen Ring Farseer and Dust Cultist, I think, would be fine. But he has to really consider how much something like Shadow Flame can swing the board if he makes a play like that.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so Trump chooses to go for Cabal Shadow Priest and take out the board. First Mountain Giant comes out. And Trump does have life to spare, so as much as this first Giant is scary, it's not the end of the world. So he can play Sylvanas.
Yep. This is going to be
the Iron Beak Owl.
Yeah. But that's still kind of fine, honestly, because RDU doesn't have the strongest response to this.
Right.
Just a silence. So damage is going to be dealt here, but Trump is going to have plenty of time to actually answer this board position.
In fact, if he drops the Sludge Belcher, Shadow Madness will be able to get
Yeah, I
really good
was
value.
just about to mention that. He feels so safe because of this Sludge Belcher, and this is actually gonna come back to haunt him a little bit. Ooh, Powered Shield's not a bad pickup either. This is a no-brainer play for Chump here, though. Shadow Madness
It
is a
is,
very
but like
clear
you
option.
said, he's been taking time to slow down. Is there anything better? But I completely agree. I think you can't really argue with the results. You're killing off Sludge Belcher effectively and gaining a 1-2.
Yep. I think part of the thing he's thinking about is how he follows up. Like after he uses Sludge Belcher, does he go aggressive or does he continue to play defense? Like, does he want to continue to try to choke his opponent out of the game by attacking minions and healing up his guys, or can he go on the offense?
Well, the 1-2 will be vulnerable to the Ironbeak Owl, so it might be a trade scenario for Trump. Let's see what he draws off this this Power Word Shield, by the way. Ooh, second Zombie Chow. That might be his finisher tool if he draws into Alkanite Soul Priest. Sometimes it gives you the ability to reach a little bit deeper in your deck.
I think this is a go for the face spot. You can start denying your opponent's draws so well.
It is a little tough though because Trump is playing for value and he's also making sure that he doesn't lose his 1-2 unnecessarily.
Look at this. He just
I think he
plays
doesn't
Zombie
also
Chow
want to
anyway.
take any. He doesn't want any Shadow Flame possibility either.
Huh, he just plays the Zombie Chow as a preemptive 2 damage spell. Ooh, there's a Molten Giant. Now, if Trump starts drawing into Shadow Word Death and Mind Control, things like that in the coming turns, you're going to see a big turnaround in this game. Both of these players still fighting hard for board position, too.
I wonder if there's any application for this Ancient Watcher that's sitting in Trump's hand. Because it most likely isn't. And then has this weird mind game against RDUs, like, what did he thought steal? That he hasn't played in a long time. And yeah, like, Trump hasn't hit any of his cards to deal with Giants yet. So as long as he's not pushing into a situation where if he has Molten Giant, he doesn't win, he's still in a pretty decent spot.
That's what he's thinking about now is what's the value of deliberately not attacking your opponent at this stage. So that way you can force Molten Giants to cost more. If he had any way to deal with a Giant, I don't think that would be a concern of his.
Quickly.
And also, at the same time, anything that you develop because you can't kill the Giant also is vulnerable to Shadow Flame and board clear. And Priest, if they get their board clear, I mean, they play way slower. They can't just toss out 3 or 4 big creatures like Handlock can. So it's tricky.
Yep. Trump didn't miss 6 points of damage here. Again, by the way, guys, this is a deliberate not attack, so that Molten Giant continues to cost 6 or more mana.
All right. Pick up the Sun Fury Protector. RDU taps. Wants to get a little bit deeper in his deck. Picks up Faceless Manipulator. Wow. So it's another Giant. And the availability to taunt and be able to impose on the board.
Something Trump might wanted to think about here was actually attacking the Giant to just prevent something.
Mind control off the top.
Whoa, that is a huge draw.
Oh my god, that is really big because Trump not only has a Shadow Word Death, but he also summons an 8/8 minion. All for a grand total of his entire turn. And you know what? Now Trump has lethal potential if he draws into like a Holy Fire. And RDU is kind of worried. He has to use Siphon Soul here in order to get out of it.
More importantly, is he's kind of weathered the storm that hit early on, or that hit, I'm sorry, in these late rounds, which is just this 2 Mountain Giants that were taunted is what he was staring down. And RDU continues to fight really well for the board position. Trump's not out of it yet, but he's not way ahead. But that was Mind Control was a card he needed to not outright lose the game that turn.
Yeah, he's still in a pretty tough spot. Zombie Chow is actually going to heal RDU once again up to the point where it's not working exactly in his favor. And Zombie Chow hasn't even done that much damage, I feel like. Only 2 or 4 damage.
It is kind of keeping
actually
It's kind of keeping his opponent at a molten range, at a molten giant range.
I mean, you might as well just hero power him if that's what you want to do.
I've done it before. One time,
Sure.
my game plan was to just continue to heal my opponent over and over, so that way they could never play Molten Giants. And I had both Shadow Word deaths, and I had 2 silences, so I killed both of his Drakes and both of his Mountain Giants. He just never played his Molten Giants because I kept him at 30.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too meta because then all of a sudden you become way weaker to everything else. Trump looks like he's going to try to play as many minions as he can, just zoo it up, and toss it back over to RDU, who can't use his Molten Giant, which is, you're absolutely correct. That's an interesting observation where it works out this way because Zombie Chow has disallowed it.
Oh, wow. 2 back-to-back really big draws. Oh my gosh, I think that's going to seal the deal.
Well, you know, Trump still has Ragnaros, right?
He does, and he needs to draw it right here. Not quite. This may be on the heal your opponent so that they can't play Molten Giants ever plan.
Yeah. You know, it might be viable, I think. But is it the best play? I think Trump wants to also attack this because he doesn't want to get silenced by a second Ironbeak Owl.
Yep.
And now RDU kind of approaches this. Well, how do I kind of deal with this? Leroy off the top. He already did use a Faceless. But the Molten Giant will be slapped down. Trump still needs a Shadow Word Deaths.
Oh, gosh. That's a poor draw. That's got to be the worst draw in his deck right now.
Well, relative to what he has, he can't even heal and utilize it. Well, I guess he could, but it costs a lot.
Yeah,
In this situation, if you're Trump, you feel like you have to just kind of take the hit. But there's also a lot of more damage where that came from. Leroy and Double Soulfire is 14. 22. Man, 22 damage right there when you're just at 27. The combos are still very real and relevant.
Not a good spot to be in, for sure.
Actually, he's at 23. Oh, wait. The Defender of Arius is 23, so RDU draws Power Overwhelming. Isn't that lethal right there?
So 8, 9. Well, Soulfire would have to not discard Soulfire.
Well,
He's
yeah.
gotta make something happen.
Okay,
Wow.
well, Trump doing whatever he can. But this game could be over if it draws. But actually, it's still a pretty high chance that the Soulfire doesn't discard in that order. Molten Giant off the top. Why not? He couldn't deal with the Giant before. So just continue to press.
It's the Molten Bros.
Oh, God.
They're here to win.
My least favorite family in all of Hearthstone. The Giants. Hang on. Hang on. You know, RDU just gave him a card. But there's no taunts.
I think he's smart enough to not taunt up at this point. But you never know.
Oh,
my
he can
gosh.
draw Shadow Word Deaths.
Okay, this is potentially a lot of card draws now. I wonder if he did that a little too... Should he have Holy Nova'd in it afterwards? Oh my gosh, if he Holy Nova'd and did it afterwards, he would have drawn 2 more cards, too.
Yeah. But then he can't double Shadow Word Death. Oh, wow. And Leroy, to follow this up, is it enough damage? I think so.
It's 29 damage right now.
Yeah.
There's 16. There's 19 on board. Plus 6 in the hand. Plus 10 in hand. Plus 12 in hand.
He's got him covered multiple times over. Trump needed to draw a Shadow Word Death. That's pretty unlucky that he wasn't able to hit it here.
Well, that's going to do it. There's at least 31 points of damage for RDU this turn.
Maybe even 35. And RDU will take game number 1 against Trump's Priest, as Trump had no ability to answer these Giants whatsoever. And RDU will take his 4th win in a row with handlock.
Very well played game from RDU. You know, he's drawn pretty consistently throughout these matches. He's had these giant 4-drops, either Twilight Drake or Mountain Giant. But I think sort of a bigger picture for this game was that Trump never got a Shadow Word Death.
There is a lot of pressure point until you hit that big wall of taunts that you can't get past. So a lot of times Zoo players don't actually like that matchup because of how you stack up, especially if they know to mulligan for Zoo. So Trump's going to go to his Warrior deck.
I agree. I think Warrior here is a better choice. I think it serves a much better. It's a much better matchup, I think, for Warrior. And at the same time, you want your Zoo to be running into other decks, not just trying to pick off handlock here. Ideally, you want an advantageous matchup.
Once again, Twilight Drake Mountain Giant, the inseparable duo, coming to theaters this fall. Giant
if you
and Drake.
continue to draw them, if you continue to draw them, you certainly will have a pretty big advantage. 2 executes in hand, though. He keeps Shield Block too. Shield Block is an interesting keep, and his logic, I think, when he does this is if he wants to draw Shield Slam, he might as well keep Shield Block to go with it, so that way Shield Slam actually gets strong value from it. And look, he picks up a Shield Slam.
Here we go. Handlock is going first, though, so allows RDU to take the initiative slightly quicker and kind of put the onus on Trump to kind of react. As much as you have execute, you need something to actually lead off with it to do damage, so he'd like to pick up something to do.
Second Twilight Drake. I wouldn't be surprised if he Shield Blocked here.
Let's see. If he armors up, he's got 4, and then he shield blocks. You can still shield block Shield Slam the following turn, anyways. So you'll be at 9.
That's
This Drake
exactly
is
what
going to be a 4-9. Okay, so he's still safe. I believe this should be a 4-9. Second Molten Shine. Oh my god, that is pretty much as good as it gets for the handlock.
If Trump draws his other Shield Slam, though.
Right. It's like, well, Shield Slam and Executes want to go on these Giants / Drakes anyways, so it seems like they're in agreement. Like, okay, so I'll trade my Giants for your Executes. Okay, cool. Hand them over. All right, sure. Here you go.
This is likely going to be a faceless turn. Well, unless he draws Shield Slam.
What did I tell you, man?
Well, it's still going to be a faceless
Shield
turn.
Slam is not bad.
It's still going to be a faceless turn. She gets an 8 out of the deal now. And suddenly, things not looking that bad for Trump. This is one of the spots that he was looking for. When Warrior knows that it's handlocked, by the way, it's a much different matchup than if the Warrior has to mulligan blindly and keep cards like Fiery War Axe in anticipation of their opponent being Zoo. It makes a really big difference in how you can actually play the matchup. Owl's not even that bad. Owl's not even that bad for the Acolyte, by the way. Because it's still activating, it's still working as an execute activator, which is its main purpose, I think, at this point.
Well, yeah, when there's another Giant coming out.
Yep.
I mean, this is kind of like, you know, like one of those fight scenes where they just kind of keep tying.
Oh, look at this! He's going to be able to cleave.
Oh,
He's
you're
gonna be
right.
able to cleave in 2 executes. Wow.
Ooh, that's
and
funny.
if he soul fires this and he discards the Molten Giant, oh, this discard is going to be really big. Pitches a Sludge Belcher. Wait, was that what card was that?
No, it was the card next to Sludge Belcher.
I thought it was. It looked like the Sludge Belcher so bad. Wait, what was that?
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you know?
Okay, Trump's gonna use his executes again. Best target possible.
This is looking really good for Trump, by the way. Armor at this point, by the way, starts becoming a threat because he's handled 2 Mountain Giants and 2 Twilight Drakes at this point. So if his opponent can't manage to put together enough damage in these following turns, this armor may put him so far out of reach that he can actually expend life on things like weapons or just trading and end up winning the game off that. Both of these players have extremely strong draws so far.
And Sludge Belcher. Well, I got bad news for you, buddy.
This is a Black Knight turn.
You're about to get Black Knighted.
Yep.
From the Bay Area with love, signed Trump. See you in the graveyard, buddy.
Bay life.
That was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, I don't know if Trump fits the Bay life, but he definitely fits the North American Asian on TSM thing. All right, RDU, he's still kind of running out of... Ooh, he picks up Loteb, which is nice. But before, he just doesn't have anything to do. He's got situational cards other than that.
This might be a little bit too much for RDU to deal with in the end. How good is Ragnaros here? I don't think it's the play.
I really don't like Ragnaros sometimes against Handlock because of how much he gets out of control. If it hits face, he has Molten Giants. He just Shadow Flamed you. You know, and you're sad. That's that's when the Haagen-Dazs comes out of my freezer. I don't really share this much, Admirable, but now you know.
Knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe!
I do, and then they try to wrestle the spoon away from me, but I don't let them. Leave me be! My Ragnaros hit the face, can't you tell? Alright, Trump, by the way, yeah, just like you said, he can use these Fiery War Axes as a way to kind of chip health and play really inefficiently with that respect, but it's okay, because he's got 42 health left.
I'm still picturing like one of the G.I. Joe guys like showing up in your apartment. Rodan!
Ice cream is fattening!
You don't want to
Now
blow
I know.
hard. You don't want to blow the hard work you put in all those workouts. You're just gonna lose your games over some Haagen-Dazs.
Go, Joe! And just like busts out my window. Man, Kool-Aid Man style. I don't know. RDU, by the way, continued to picking up these mid-game threats. That's what Sludge Belcher has done. Otherwise, it was a lot of other things like a second Siphon Soul. Usually Sunwalkers, but the Sludge Belcher are able to kind of match the mana curve a little bit better and functions very similarly to it. Alex Straza coming to hand for Trump. But now we're starting to get into a little bit of a puzzle math here, where you're trying to find the most effective way of clearing the board.
It's getting tricky. This might just be an 8-8 turn.
Well, yes, I think so. Is it even appropriate to drop Ragnaros here?
I don't know. This might be a spot where Grommash is okay. It's just like again, sort of like a board clear mechanism. But yeah, I feel like there's just better plays than that.
What now?
Okay, well, the Fiery War Axe allows you to chew through the last part of the Sludge Belcher. Or even you can do it the opposite way, so that way your minions your one attack minions don't take that much damage. And then you can use Grommash as removal, but then you're afraid of something like Shadow Flame to completely swipe your board.
Afraid of a lot of things at that point.
Yeah, especially it's what card do you want to play around? Or what card do you feel like maximizes your chances the most? Here we go. Trump's going to lead off with Grommash. Uses Fiery War Axe.
He's got to make something happen soon because these animations might hurt him.
Yep. Well, thankfully, it's not Frothing Berserker or Acolyte of Pain.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, looks like he got it just in time.
Wow. Animations, please.
Oh man, RDU actually, his screen got misplaced because of the rope actually burning out completely. So now we see the entire card text. Alright, looks like he has Shadow Flame hovered. Oh, just kidding, Iron Beak Owl. Didn't get to see what card he picked out, but now there's a 4-5 fighting for RDU.
I guess that's gonna. Oh yeah, this is a really nice turn.
Yeah. Nicely done. Just continue to push out the board. You still have your Molten Giants. You still have Faceless. So they can
Very
push
solid
through.
use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in Trump's position here, he wants to kind of address the board. He can utilize what he has. Even start getting back some armor. Fari Warak's still kind of actually done a pretty good job,
Strike.
relatively speaking. But I think it might be time for one of these 8/8s to come out again. Unless you really want to play passive. I feel like it's pretty weak. Alex Straza definitely comes out here.
Yeah, he needs to get stuff on the board now. Have to deal with it.
Well, Alex Straza is just such a less threat than it is Ragnaros. Because if Ragnaros comes out, a lot of bad things can happen with Stasis
Siphon
Manipulators.
Soul is a pretty good answer, I think, to 8/8s.
Possibly the best answer.
Possibly the worst answer.
Well, it does take up almost your entire turn. But look at that, RDU kind of rubber bands and gets back and starts imposing on the board a little bit.
Yep, Trump's gonna have to take the big risk here with this Ragnaros. Oh, maybe not. Sludge Belcher may have saved him from having to do that. But he may just conclude this Ragnaros as his best chance anyway.
But if it hits the face, double Molten Giant faceless Ragnaros.
The bigger thing he's thinking about is the likelihood of his opponent having a faceless manipulator. And how much that affects your play. He knows Handlock's going to run a faceless. What he doesn't know is whether or not his opponent's drawn it. I think the Sludge Belcher gave him the ability to try to wait an extra turn. Now something like Cruel Taskmaster or Whirlwind ends up being a really strong draw.
Alright, RDU picks up Leroy. So he is picking up damage potential, which might make him hold onto faceless unless absolutely needs to. Hellfire also able to take out that Acolyte without allowing him to draw many cards. Armor Smith picked up for Trump, which is a little useless here. Just going to be filling out the mana curve. Brawl for Trump could be really valuable.
Oh, jeez.
And I think if you're Trump, you're just left, you're back into a corner.
Yep.
This is where the fangs come out. And Trump has his sights lined for the Molten Giant. He snipes it. A big moment in this game.
Huge Ragnaros hit right now.
Faceless Manipulator, also equally big.
Yep.
It's going to go for a 50-50.
Oh my gosh.
Does he want to heal up the Ancient Watcher and then
what
press
he's
through?
looking
Does he want to play his own Molten Giant?
My eyes
Wow,
himself?
being super
Wow.
cautious.
Shields
I'm
up.
very surprised by that.
All right. Now,
Oh
where
my
will this
gosh.
Ragnaros hit? Oh, it hits
Oh
Trump.
my
But you know
gosh.
what? Because it loaded up, Brawl becomes a higher chance. But what a risk Trump has to take here.
You can see him. He knows it has to be done.
The RNGesus dance has been completed. What will it be? The Earthen Ring Farseer survives.
Pretty
And
important
Trump
turn.
has killed off the Ragnaros, but there's still at least one more threat here. Molten Giant.
It's going to be kind of a hard one to deal with, too.
This is the final boss for Trump. Okay. Undead Ghoul.
Cool.
Needs a little bit more. How sad are you that you didn't slam the Giant now?
I don't know why he actually slammed the 3/3. That doesn't make much sense to me.
It's because, I guess if he killed off this Undead Ghoul, at least it would have to go through. It would kill off the Farseer.
Yes, but he does have Cruel Taskmasters left. He has Deathbite left. He potentially has Whirlwinds left.
Shields up.
It feels like that was his first actual mistake this game.
By the way, he also has picked up a lot of damage. Oh, this stinks.
Well,
Now, to be fair, I don't think the slam actually would have impacted anything.
what life is that giant at right now? 3?
It's at 3 health.
Be at
But
1
there's
instead.
10 damage plus 16. That's 26.
Gosh.
RDU was 1 damage off lethal.
14 plus 8. Yep, plus 2.
Or, sorry, he was 2 he was really close. Either way, he doesn't have it.
That slam was really misplaced this game. He would have taken 16 less damage. Yeah, that's going to do it.
Oh man, what a disaster this is for Trump. As now RDU is able to kind of outlast him, and he was out of cards.
Almost
That
out
was
of
it.
cards. Gosh.
Well played.
RDU advances to Game 3 with a 2-0 lead, and Trump will have to go with Zoo all the way home if he needs to go to the top 3. Pretty devastating loss.
Wow. I mean, these handlock draws, again, they've been really strong, but he's... And so, once it has developed to this point where I think the only misplay Trump really made was the slam onto the 3-3, I think the slam really should have been to the Molten Giant. But it might have even been inconsequential at that point. It's tough to say, really.
Sure, makes sense. Well, Trump is going to have to go to this Zoo deck. And, we were kind of talking about how the Zoo interacts with handlock, but Zoo can have the capability of beating anything. It's
whoa. RDU does not have a Drake or a Mountain Giant in his opening hand.
Wait, hold on. There's still time. In fact, you know what? He might not need it. He might play really aggressive back with, like, an Ancient Watcher. Or not.
Wow. I didn't know this was possible.
Sounds like Admiral was a little salty. Well, we'd all be a little envious of those kinds of draws for handlock, but I think RDU, just like you said, has been playing his position well. He's going to need a little bit more than just a Twilight Drake and a Mountain Giant. In fact, Mountain Giant sucks in this matchup. You want AoE clears, Hellfire, Shadow Flames, Molten Giants, and Taunts. Those are the keys to victory.
Well,
Ooh, Hellfire.
What was the card you wanted? 4 clears?
Yes.
Is that what it was? God,
Yes, I'll take 2, please.
Prophet Frodan. Coming in place again.
Well, you name them, you'll get them.
Frodan
If only that happened to me when I was actually laddering.
Egg is a really heads-up play here. You need some resilience against poor clear.
And you only lose 1 power off the board from a coin Shadow Flame. Twilight Drake ends up coming in the hand anyways for RDU. So there you go, Admirable.
Yeah, but it wasn't the opening hand. If you draw it, that's fine. It's just in the opening hand.
Well, he got it in time anyways. Okay, RDU, a little bit tricky still. How do you kind of approach this? He hovered over his coin. If he wants to put out the Drake, he'll be taking a little bit more damage.
I think you gotta help. Do you just Hellfire Soulfire here?
I don't think you're in danger of losing anything too valuable. You could lose your Sludge Belcher. Drake, if you use so many cards anyways, feels a little weak. He's going to go for the Drake play, it looks like.
5 more life being paid. Ooh, on a Creeper.
Yeah, another card, Resilient 2, Hellfire. And empower something like Direwolf Alpha to have really good value.
So many possibilities.
Trump could go for the Swarm, but he also could go for the trades here, I believe. He just has to use Direwolf Alpha, trade his 2 oozes on the left. Could even activate his Nerubian, but he does make himself a little bit vulnerable to Soulfire. I like keeping Egg just as an imposing threat. And then you can play on it.
Yep. He is going for the trade. I find that very peculiar, but there's a good chance that's the best play. He doesn't want to get Shadow Flamed. He doesn't want to get Hellfired and blown out of the water by that. He doesn't want it to get taunted up with like a Defender of Argus or something. There's so many things that he doesn't want to happen. Even something like attack and then heal it with Earthen Ring Farseer. Eventually he's just going to be getting too much value. He's trying to shut that off while he can.
What did he lose? Did he lose, I didn't see what he dropped from the Soulfire.
Yeah, I missed it as well. For whatever reason.
Everything I see, I was like, well, that's what he had anyways.
We must cleanse.
How does this keep happening to us? I have no idea. Trump, by the way, gets a Defender of Argus. He still has Doomguard, which is one of his ways to continue to push through. And this Ancient Watcher, unless activated by Taunt, is kind of innocuous.
This is going to be a. I feel like this is going to be a Shadow Flame turn now that he drew Shadow Flame, but it could be a Hellfire turn also.
You can Hellfire and then Shadow Flame anyways. The following turn.
Oh
And
yeah,
this-
you're right.
Yeah, this Ancient Watcher gets double value from being able to
All right,
withstand it.
now let's think about what's happening. Is there any way you can play Zombie Chow right now? I feel like Zombie Chow is right now should just be considered as a non-existent card in his hand.
It's a Doom Guard discard. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Abilities.
All right. Well, you know what? Trump disagrees, and I think if this does 6 damage, it technically pays for itself. But still,
Sure, but is it going to deal 6 damage?
it's like this situation where if he has Molten Giants, actually you help him bounce back while being able to give him the range to be able to do Molten
Oh,
Giant.
that's a good point. Zombie Chow's... Yeah, it's keeping him out of Molten Giant range.
Yeah.
One
It's like you play Molten Giants, taunt up, Earthen Ring Farseer, and Soulfire to gain 8 life.
There you go. Bam!
And you know what? He also has a good counter to Doomguard too. Because he does have Leroy and Shadow Flame in the coming turns.
Shields up.
Wow, here we go. See what Trump picks up. Now, I want to talk about this Echoing Ooze, by the way. I think it's one of the most interesting cards in Hearthstone. Because of the way you can use the buffs on it to apply a lot of cool different board positions. Like now it's double 2/3 with Taunt. It's going to suck when the Shadow Flame comes out.
I was just
But
about
it's
to mention the
really
Shadow
cool.
Flame.
It's still a cool card because you start thinking about things you can put on it, like Divine Shields, and then it copies it, or even really cool buffs, like I don't know, Ancestral Spirits, right? And all of a sudden copies itself. It's just cool stuff that you can do.
I like Echoing Ooze. I think it's got a
Yeah.
really strong place. You know, it's funny, this Zombie Chow healing his opponent for 5 is actually really not that bad. It's keeping him out of Molten Giant range if that was a potential. That matters.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah. The Shadow Flame, of course, sucks. You know,
Okay.
you're hurting a little bit. By a
But
little
now
bit,
you
I
have
mean
Doomguard.
a lot.
Oh.
Oh, gosh.
Well, that stinks.
You know me, I hate to call games early, but I think this one's looking like it's done. There's going to be a distinct lack of pressure in the coming turns. 2 Sludge Belchers are going to be on the board. He's still got the Sun Fury Protector to pick off a 2 health minion, and Molten Giant's going to be coming soon. He's even going to have Reach with Leroy.
It's going to be really tough to win from this position as Trump, unless he has some secret cards we're not aware of in his Zoo deck to yank him out of here. But it's looking like it's close to the end, because he does have Molten Giants, he's got Taunters. In fact, RDU can use Leroy as removal, or even as a way to kill.
The light protects me.
And Arts Esquire is not exactly doing the most heavy lifting in the world. She just kind of does curls with 2 or 3 pounders in the corner by the yoga mats. That's what she's doing. You know what I'm talking about.
I know
People who
exactly
actually
what
go to
you're
the
talking
gym.
about.
All right, well, here comes the bad news for Trump. He sees Molten Giant. He sees the Sludge Belcher. He can push through one of them.
Well, he's in lethal range now.
But, yep, exactly. Leroy plus the 10 damage is 16, and I think that's enough because I think Trump has 14 life from what I see on screen. So that's going to be it. RDU advances with 6 wins in a row on his handlock. Back-to-back 3-0s.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups. But you said Mountain Giant's poor in this matchup, by the way, right?
I did.
Yeah. Well, notice he didn't draw Mountain Giant this time.
There you go. RDU's controlling the draws of his own deck. Not bad. And
Sometimes a man
RDU
has
fans are
control.
rejoicing because this kid, once again, getting to the top 3. And top 3 is where the money really starts beginning to ramp up for these guys, as Trump will go home in 4th place. I think that's actually a spot that Trump's really familiar with. He's playing great series, but it seems like he's always getting 3rd or 4th place and never really breaking into the top 2. So once again, Trump goes home slightly disappointed here. But I think he played some brilliant moments throughout this entire